He would just video the projects he was working on. It's pretty rough individual. He'd be swearing, just a Aussie bloke, but just explaining what he was doing as he was doing it. And that became a goldmine for content. Firstly, so I could understand what it is he does, but also so he would post them on YouTube. They're pretty rough and ready videos, but they were fine for his industry. Those were the catalyst for a lot of content for his website.
If you're enjoying the show, hit subscribe so that you never miss an episode. You'll get the latest on marketing, AI, and how to grow your business. It only takes 2 seconds and really helps the show grow. So please hit subscribe and then continue listening. Wes, great to have you on the podcast today. You work with construction companies. You obviously run a website marketing agency. I'm just curious, what the response has been like in terms of probably both marketing and AI among construction companies, just because I know a lot of tradespeople are not the fastest in the uptick of sort of AI and marketing because they're more kind of techie industries. I'm curious, what's been the response like with your clients?
Yeah, definitely, you're right. That's always a bit of a lag for the tech aspect for the construction companies, and even just historically, they were probably the last to want to join on a Zoom call to have meetings. So they're pretty much all Zoom meetings now, but they're definitely a lot of the industry is pretty old school, and that's fine. I like getting out there and seeing people and so on. But I suppose businesses are always driven by producing an outcome, and here in Australia, I don't know how it is everywhere, but there's been a bit of a downturn in construction-related works. So everyone's fighting a little harder to get the work they need, and that will prompt people to make changes. So, and AI is scaring some people, and people particularly who don't like tech so much. Once we do a lot of search engine optimization, and I think everyone's noticed there's less traffic coming to websites because there's less need. Answers are met right there in Google. So having that conversation with people and talking about how we can still produce a great result at the end of the day. So yeah, just having those conversations, and I'm pretty practical kind of person. So and that's why I kind of chose the niche. I sort of relate to the construction people pretty well, and can and understand what they're looking to do and produce the outcomes. So yeah, it's been a fun time.
That's super interesting because I work with more similar to you, but I work more with accounting firms and accountants and financial services. And
Yeah.
it's kind of similar, obviously different because trades are obviously more manual labor type stuff, but similar in the sense of accountants don't typically do a lot of marketing. A lot of them will more purchase an existing bookkeeping or accounting firm to get clients that way and to expand. And so I think it's a similar thing where they're kind of realizing, oh, I need to be doing something about this. And they're starting to I get a lot of those clients who are coming on okay, can you just do this for us? We don't know what to do. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting that it's in the construction industry too.
Yeah, well, I don't know a lot about the accounting practices, but I would imagine they value getting professionals to do the work, like you, and you're specialized in your niche, so that you really know what they need. And I think niching is really. Do you say niche or niche in your part of the world? We say
I
niche.
say niche, but I know a lot of people say niche. I don't
Yeah.
know what the correct term is.
Yeah. So same here. So I say niche, but yeah, I think that's really valuable, and I think that's even more relevant now with you need to own your space. You need to be recognized in a particular area that you're an expert in. So I'm so pleased. I personally made a niche prior to AI, but now that the way it's going, it was the best move I could ever have done. I haven't always niched into the construction industry. I did websites for anyone and everyone, as we all do as we're starting out. We just get whatever work we can, but I realized all my best clients kind of looked and sounded the same, and so that's the path I took.
Mm.
Um, yeah, with the construction guys.
That's cool. And I think I liked what you mentioned about niching down. And it's something that I've also seen because in addition to doing client work for marketing work, I've also set up my own kind of tax website for digital nomads, just as a kind of passion project or hobby. And just to track kind of, in real time and there's 2 to 3 pages that like outperform every other page on my website, and all of them are just hyper specific long tail niche keywords. And I've now ranked for like almost every variation of that long tail keyword. And so I think it's like worth underscoring that we're moving from this kind of general keyword, 2, 3 words like accountant near me, to more of like a specified, 5, 6, sometimes 7 word keywords, and even longer in, say, platforms like ChatGPT, where people are looking for this hyper specific information. And so there's a lot of like opportunity in that space. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's right. Even the way people interact with the search engine, they'll search for an entire sentence now because they know that the platform will understand the full sentence. So,
Mm.
yeah, get you to the right place and answer it on Google itself. But if anyone ever needs to engage with the business, they need to go knock on that front door or the digital front door, which is the website, and engage that way and find out, dig a little deeper. Particularly if they're making a significant investment, they're going to find out as much as I can about the company and their reputation and all those sorts of things that they can find online. So yeah, it's been interesting. Like a couple of years back, it really hit home as well. I had to get a business valuation done for my business. Just might have been 2.5 years ago now. Um, and it was a bit of a kick in the teeth a little bit. So the business valuer said, "Look, your industry is vulnerable. It's going to affect the valuation simply because I like like things to be secure and so on." And he said, "No one really knows what AI is going to do to your industry and your business." But so initially I was a bit flat because building this business for so many years, and it's been going well, and I thought it was worth more than what he was saying it was worth. Maybe that's a common thing. We all, we fall in love with our own businesses,
Mhm.
but to be able to, the catalyst, so I guess in a lot of ways, to say, right, well, I'm just going to have to dig in and flip the script a little bit and make AI work for me, which has been great. It's been, yeah, since that time. So we report financial years at the middle of the year,
Mhm.
so June, and it was my best financial year ever, just
Wow.
since converting the AI. Some of the things we're doing, and even helping clients to use AI from the search engine, or search everywhere optimization, as people are calling it. So um, it's been really helpful. I've really enjoyed the process of helping clients understand what they might be able to do some of it themselves. So it's been
Mm.
great. Have you found that as well?
Yeah, I find, yeah, like I'm getting more outreach. Like the more I talk about AI and the more I incorporate AI into my marketing, the more people are like, because I think a lot of people are scared, like you mentioned, scared about AI. They don't understand it. And so to like find a marketing agency or work with a marketer who understands AI and uses it and can help them, I mean, I've had clients who like use ChatGPT, and I'm like, okay, like I see, I love the effort. This is great, but like we need to like edit this heavily, and
Yeah.
like this is technically incorrect in some parts. And so like, I admire the effort. I think there's just needs to be some more guidance around how to do it, how to use it. But I think that, yeah, like it's something that's been a common theme on the podcast of guests are saying, if you're a marketer or an agency and you want to survive long term in the space, like you're just going to have to adopt AI in some way, shape, or form, whether that's through automations, whether that's through content, whether that's, it's just to know about AI, because a lot of the marketing will, or some of the marketing tasks, especially like the entry level stuff, is probably going to become automated more and more. And so it's going to become more of like that refining, fine tuning, curating kind of role where you need to know what is good marketing and what is a good strategy and what is good copywriting and what does a good website look like. Because it's one thing to go into ChatGPT and be like, write me a blog post. And it's another thing to know whether that blog post is actually any good and if that's going to actually draw customers in or push them away. And so I think, yeah, like I think a lot of marketers are realizing they have to adapt and pivot if they want to stay relevant. And I'm not surprised that you had your biggest year after adopting AI. And I'm curious, like, how are you using AI in your marketing with your clients in your internal processes? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so with what some people there's so many acronyms and so on floating around with because we've moved a little bit from just optimizing for Google.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, so search everywhere optimization is the one I'm using because then all my
Makes sense.
SEO still makes sense. But the principles still apply. So it was always about producing content that Google could understand. Back in the day, you needed to have keywords in certain places, and you could kind of cheat your way to the top, but that became less so already over the years. That was becoming less and less of a thing. You just needed to produce quality content. So that the writing was on the wall. Google were going to recognize quality. Um, so yeah, it's just helping clients to understand who they are. So I think a really great thing that AI is doing it, and it's a bizarre thing, but it's making us become more human. So who are we as an individual person, a personal brand within a corporate brand? So blogging, for example, so that's probably the key strategy for the SEO from our perspective most of the time, because it's the easiest way to produce fresh, unique content added regularly to a website. Um, Having someone's personal voice that fits within the corporate voice as well, because you can't have that conflicting, but there'll always be nuance in an individual as well. So, and for them to even think about, okay, who am I as a person, and what are my beliefs, and what sets me apart in my industry. Oftentimes, it's those things that irritate someone about their industry. Like they might say, I was talking to a guy the other day, I just about this very topic. He said, I just can't stand how the tradies have a perception in his particular thing, plumbing, um, how everyone just thinks we're going to leave a big mess. So he said, right, we're going to just make sure we're the tidiest. All our guys are going to make sure they wear the little booty things, or if they're on the carpet, or all this sort of stuff, whatever it was. I'm not precisely sure, but yeah, he just wants some clear things. So okay, so that means being clear, clean in the workplace. It probably means being clean in your communication as well. How does that translate? I mean, you can say we're clean and tidy, but there's probably a matching style of writing that fits with that type of person as well. So just getting that consistency, I've found it really exciting to have some of those conversations, particularly the people we're working with. They're pretty straightforward, down to the point most of the time, um, and just understanding who they are. And once we've got their voice captured, I can do a lot of we can do a lot of the content writing for them, which is good too. So I mean, it's so hard to remember if you're writing the manual old school way to remember how someone says something, but when you've got the everything in place, so their voice is captured, it makes it so much easier and fun.
I've been playing around a lot with custom GPTs just to play around with, standardizing content and just, I think from like a brand consistency point of view, like, yes, it takes time to set up and build that in, but then you have that consistency. And it's interesting you mentioned about the plumbers. That's really cool because I had a similar interaction with a client where I'm researching their brand and their content, and I'm looking at the questionnaire that I sent them, and their answers are just short, direct to the point. And then that's like, their vibe is just very straight, it's probably similar to the construction, just straight up to the point, honest. And then like really trying to incorporate that in their writing with like bullet points or like short sentences, and not just having like blocks of paragraphs or text. And so really I like that angle of, yeah, thinking about who am I and what do I stand for, and then how can I translate that into like, yeah, like is that a crisp website with minimal text and just bullet points, or is it more of a flowery person that wants kind of more color and flow, and so really, yeah, rather than just thinking about the words, the arrangement of the words and the visual appearance of the words, and also translating that into like Google Maps as well and having it all integrate.
Yeah, that's so true. sometimes I think we all find it hard to understand ourselves and then to communicate that to someone else. Had a client, or I've still got the client who we were having a bit of a battle to understand his business at all, really, and to understand how we could communicate. But then we stumbled upon a strategy for him where he would just video the projects he was working on. It's pretty rough individually. He'd be swearing, just a Aussie bloke, but just explaining what he was doing as he was doing it. And that became a goldmine for content. Firstly, so I could understand what it is he does, but also so he would post them on YouTube. They're pretty rough and ready videos, but they were fine for his industry. But those were the catalyst for a lot of content for his website. So obviously you can get the transcript from the videos pretty easy, and we can convert them to pretty powerful case studies and blogs and so on. So, and just naturally he's talking about all the right things. So he's talking about the service offering he does, but also the location. So say we were out on a job in whatever part of town. It was really, really good. So that's a little, we found that by accident, but that's a little trick we've been using for a few clients now.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a cool strategy to use. Like, even if, like, I'm just thinking, even if you'd never say publish the content, it's still just such an insight and a window into the client. And like, what a cool way to do client research rather than, like you said, like trying to get a construction owner onto a Zoom call. Just take take a few videos around the job site, and then like we'll transcribe them and pull out your voice. I think that's just a really cool idea. Do you use any AI tools or automations, or is it
Yeah.
just kind of manual?
Yeah, GPT is what we all use. There are a few little custom ones. So yeah, and sometimes with some clients, we're just giving them a few simple little prompts so they can fix up their blog posts so they're a little better. I mean, I think there's a bit of a myth. Some people say you get penalized for AI content. I don't think it's true at all. I mean, is AI going to penalize AI? I doubt it. When there's not any extra depth within the content, then yes, um, because you're not bringing anything new to the table. But if you're expanding upon the substance behind something, well, of course you'll get noticed by Google and all the other platforms as well. So, I mean, you can't just regurgitate exactly what everyone else is saying, but that's probably that stuff will be the basis of some of your information, surely, because most industries are the same. It's only really the last 10-20% that makes someone uniquely their own business. So get the 80% done and fine tune that, 20% that's uniquely yours, your own stories and case studies and examples and things that only you can bring to the table, any proprietary systems, processes. A friend of mine is in a similar space. He talks about um, productizing or branding particular processes within the business. So I think that's a powerful thing, getting recognized as a brand, as a company, but also maybe thinking about individual processes within your business as a brand in their own right as well. Could be a thing to consider.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think ultimately, like, what Google and all of these search platforms really want is to provide the best solution for the user. And whether that's AI generated or not probably doesn't have as much bearing as, do you actually solve the problem? Because if you're using AI to create the content and you're having a hand in it, but it solves the problem of the end user and they're going to spend more time on your site, then obviously, like, that's going to be much better than handwriting information that doesn't actually solve anybody's problem. And, so I think, and then someone else on the podcast made an interesting point that, for AI to be able to scan your content and pick it up and show it as a result, it actually needs to be structured in a certain way, which is the kind of structure AI does. So you kind of, to be picked up in some of these LLMs like ChatGPT, you kind of have to think about how are you structuring it? Not just what am I writing, but how am I structuring it and how does it appear? Is it easily scannable by LLMs, by Google? I mean, Google has its own AI overview and its own snippets and, the series of questions that people ask. And so I think more than the originality of the content, it's more important to think about, does this solve the problem that people are searching for, and does it keep people on my site? I think that's probably, yeah, what, rather than, oh, it has to be AI or not. And I think too, like, if you can, if people can use AI, like, not just be like, write me a blog post, copy paste, but really think, okay, this is my idea. Can you help me flesh it out? Like, kind of like a co-pilot, and really kind of use it as a tool rather than like a do everything for me or do everything myself. It's like there's a bridge there. Can we integrate our work with AI rather than just being all in one or all in the other?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we're training the AI with our websites or wherever we're publishing content. So it's a good way to look at it is, feeding them the information so they can feed other people that same those answers to the queries that people have. So it's been really great in the SEO world in that people are just not shoving keywords into titles just because that's used to work. You have to dig deeper because the preliminary easy stuff, well, everyone's got that now. So you have to dig deeper into your business and find what's truly useful to somebody.
Mm-hmm, for sure. And so what was it about marketing that originally like drew you in? Like, did you always know you wanted to be a marketer, or did you kind of fall into it? Like, what was kind of your backstory?
Yeah, no, I got into it by accident, really. So I studied graphic design, multimedia at uni. I mean, when I was studying high school, websites weren't really a thing that every business had. So it wasn't even on the radar for a subject, but it was quickly becoming something. So I studied graphic design multimedia, got my first job in a marketing company in Sydney. They were award winning, so they were in a lot of books, and that's how I actually found them. I found them as an award winner and rang them and said, "Love that you won this award, looking for work," sort of thing. Um, but they never designed a website, so that's how far I feel like such a dinosaur. So they won a website job, and they said, right, you're the young guy, you better do it. And they gave me heaps of time, and I did that. So I became their web guy, and then they merged into another company, and then I was their web guy, and sort of on it went from there. So I came from the graphic design background, but I suppose I always enjoyed the marketing aspect. They were marketing companies, so that I enjoyed the marketing aspect, and even starting my own business. And you got to learn marketing because you got to sell your own stuff, haven't you? You got to get noticed and all that kind of thing. So it's I've been doing a long time now, so a lot of learnings the hard way.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
and it's never been more fun. I think just how things are changing so fast and the things you can do. Um, it's exciting.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I quit my job. What was it? Almost, I think it was when during COVID. So almost like 5 years ago now, just over 5 years, I quit my job. I was like, I'm going all in my business. Like, and I never looked back. And it was just the best decision. I mean, it's been one of the hardest things I've done, as I'm sure but it's so fun, like being in the action and, working with clients and trying things and marketing and having to pivot and having to learn. And then AI comes in, and then there's all these different automations, and you don't need as many people in your team, and so you can reach this new scalability that we didn't used to have. And so I agree. I think it's a really exciting time to be running a business, and I think there's a lot of people who are scared, but I just think there's so much opportunity. And yes, AI will take a lot of jobs, especially entry level ones, but it's also going to create other jobs too that didn't exist, like AI implementation officers and AI support and all these different new developer jobs, for instance, for people making AI tools. And so I think there is a lot of opportunity, and that's what I like to focus on personally.
Yeah.
But I know you mentioned sort of like making some mistakes, and I'm curious, like what are some of the mistakes you sort of made in your business journey, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, oh, there's lots of mistakes. We could be here all day. Uh, I mean, one that springs to mind was early on. I won a really big client, which seemed great, but it wasn't really a client. It was almost like a full-time job again. So I wasn't able to service many others, and what ended up happening was they kind of felt like they owned me. And so what I felt at the time was the biggest win was dragging me down. So I had to make the decision to let that go. Um, and focus on building out clients which were a better fit for me. They were sort of demanding a lot, so they were just a high demand client, and that's partially because they knew I was depending on them so much. So to make that decision to part ways as friends as best we could, um, and and focus on winning clients that are a better fit and more of them. So bizarrely enough, it brings more security if you've got a lot of clients than just one or two big ones. Because if you lose one of your big clients and that's all you've got, or you're a bit stuck. But we've got a nice blend now, so some pretty big clients, but a few mid range ones as well. So balances out the workflows a little bit too. So it's been good. That was yeah, but there are so many other mistakes and things. Another one, okay, I don't want to go into every mistake.
That's okay.
There's another one where so I had a team of developers, and there was the lead developer who was I could see he was getting a little bit bored with the work because there is a lot of repetition. We do WordPress websites. The bulk of them technically are the same. It's just the design is a little bit different. And sometimes there's a little bit of different functionality, but he'd been in the game so long, he was getting kind of bored. I could tell that. So there was an opportunity to pitch on this other job, which was sort of outside of what we normally do. And we won that, and he did the scoping out and everything. But he was the only guy who could do it, and then he quit midway through the project. Well, that was I was trying to make him stay, but he quit anyway. And then we had this massive job, and I didn't know how to. I was up all night, lots of nights, and we got it done. And the client didn't even realize how many how many sleepless nights I had, and I had to hire some extra help. Didn't make a profit, didn't make a loss, but didn't make a profit. So just these little things you kind of learn the hard way sometimes, but war stories.
Absolutely. Like I remember some of my early jobs and like you mentioned, like you just kind of take on whatever you can get when you're starting out. And just had some horror stories of my own and like just it's almost like the less you charge, the more people expect as well. And so
Yeah,
you
yeah.
mentioned like your demanding client. And so yeah, it's but like, that's I think just part of running a business. It's just how you learn. You're in the trenches, you're in the action, and that's how you learn. And then you go, oh, okay, that didn't work. Let's go this way next time. So I think, but I love talking about it because I think, I mean, one of my pet peeves is all of these, 7-step, business courses, all you have to do is this and you'll get a 7-figure business or a 6-figure business. And even the term 7-figure business is so like does not mean anything because it's like, are you talking revenue or profit or cash or. And so I think it's important to talk about, the struggles and the challenges that are part of the process. And I think that's how we grow. I think it was James Clear that said something about being an entrepreneur, running a business is just like, it's just masquerading, but it's actually a spiritual quest masqueraded like as a business. And I thought that's really cool because the self-development and the person you have to become when running a business is just next level, I think, for like from my experience to like just being an employee. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's something a little weird about us, I reckon, if we're starting our own businesses. Just it can bring so much excitement and stress and all sorts of things. So some I was talking about the other day with somebody, and so some people are always pursuing peace, just trying to make a simple life, and some people are pursuing excitement. I think that's what we're a little bit wired towards the excitement. You got to have balance in your life, but we're a little bit more on the excitement side of things. So the
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
It's funny, like it's sometimes I wonder like why? Like what differentiates the people who chase excitement to chasing peace or like some people want a full-time job and they like that security and stability. And then some people, yeah, want the risk and want the chaos. And I've always been curious as to like, what is it that makes someone want like what they want? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Some Monday mornings I want peace. Then I just get into the week and I have my coffee and I'm right to go again.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm just like, thank you, God, for creating coffee. Like he just
Yeah, yeah.
knew that humans would need it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, what are you not using AI for? So you sort of mentioned you're using AI, in your with some of the websites and content, but what are you sort of still keeping humans in the process for? What are you not outsourcing to AI?
There's there's a human element probably to everything. It depends how you dissect it. Um, I'm trying to make sure AI makes the outcome more human. So if it can create more human connections is one
Mm.
thing. That's a role of marketing. Or if it's makes someone sound more authentically them, that's making them more human. These are all AI. So yeah, it depends on how you frame it, I suppose, isn't it? So um, yeah, just using the tools to produce, make you a better you, make you a better company, I think is the thing. So
And are you like building that into, say, like a custom GPT, or are you just kind of using that in like when you create content, or like what does that process look like?
mostly content. So the design, yeah, so that's true. So the design aspect is not AI yet, but I I believe it will be at some stage. There's lots of website building technology that eventually, I think it's pretty clear it's going to get so good that the design process will change. You'll still need I mean, you'll still need the creative eye to know what's good and what structures will work, from a marketing standpoint. So all the right things are in the right places, call to actions in the right spot, and the user experience, to understand how user experience works and how people navigate a website, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, right now the design is manually done. It's done the old school way. So yeah.
It's so interesting to me because this is also another thing I've heard from different interviews I've done where people are using AI to become more human or to become better humans and like better reasoners and better at critical thinking or better in their business. And it's so fascinating to me to ask or to use an AI tool to make yourself or your content or something become or sound more human. And it like it absolutely works. Like it's so strange, but it's something like I know another guest mentioned he's built like a custom GPT to basically act as a CEO of his company because he's more of
Yeah.
like he has a small team and so he doesn't have a board of directors or a CEO or a CFO, and so he's kind of built these GPTs to kind of advise him and help him build a better business. And I was like, that's such an interesting application where you were using these AI tools, and I do it too. Like I get the AI or ChatGPT to ask me questions and help me strategize. And it's just fascinating. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see where we're at, yeah, in the future as well.
Yeah, well, I use it as a psychologist half the time, just talking to me, lay on the couch there and explain all my concerns and woes with the world. It's but it does helps with distill down your own thoughts, doesn't it? So I do have lots of conversations sometimes in the car because you can just do it without hands free. So thinking through my own thoughts, talking to this person in the phone, my little friend in the phone, and it's great. So you have it, because you're driving around and you have a thought and you want to capture it. So it's great. So then you can, when you get back to the office, you've got it all there ready to make an action point out of it or whatever you need to do with it. So, or a blog post or whatever it is. So yeah.
It's almost like I wonder if it will replace journaling in a way. Cause like I'm the same. I use the voice feature. I mean, I haven't journaled for a while, a long time, but I'm the same. Like I find it really helpful for clarifying thought processes or, just kind of dialoguing or debriefing. And I can just be open because I'm like, it's an AI. It's not going to judge me. And it's so, I wonder like how it's going to shift. Like, yeah, like say like journaling and psychology in these kind of different spaces or personal training is another one. I've started like uploading videos of my technique lifting weights and being like, oh, like do I need to correct anything? And it can review it,
Yeah.
or like I took a photo of my cat to check if my cat was overweight. Like there's just,
Yeah.
so many like applications. It's so
Yeah.
wild. Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, using it all the day, all day.
Yeah.
Try to cook. Yeah, I don't know how to cook anything, so it's there. You want to do next, so
All right.
the
Yeah. No, that was what I was gonna ask next was like what's your favorite non-business way to use AI? And maybe that's what you mentioned already, but yeah, if there's like a something that you use it for that's not really business related, but kind of like you mentioned, processing your thoughts. Yeah.
yeah, that'd be it. Processing thoughts, getting just distilling down your thoughts into something a little bit more articulate because you can just say something, or thoughts all over the place, and it'll distill it down to something. Yeah, that's what I really meant.
You understand me. Amazing. And so,
Yeah.
obviously the future of AI is so unknown, but what was some advice or what would you say to people kind of listening about how to future-proof themselves against AI? What sort of some practical things people could do?
Yeah, well, I think it's true of everything. Getting started is the thing. So people don't start because they think they need to get things perfect. Once you start implementing some of these things into your business and your in your life, you find it's pretty straightforward. Um, so yeah, I think that's the key. I mean, if you don't, I think a lot of businesses are. Like, I like to be optimistic, but I mean, even over the last year, as I said, I've had my best year yet, but a few clients disappeared. And I thought they were doing well, um, in
Like
terms of projects.
they shut down kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right. So, you just never can really be sure with some people. Like you think that they're going well. I think it's a real time for all of us to reach out to other, colleagues in their own businesses. Most people, whenever you ask someone, they'll usually just say that they're busy or whatever, but because they don't want to let their guards down. But if you've got a close friend or something, and I think it's important to reach out to people because, things are changing and not everyone, some people are going to get left behind. There's no avoiding that. Some people are going to win really well. And hopefully the people you influence, you can have an impact on and help them win too. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great advice and especially reaching out to people and just getting started. Like it doesn't matter what industry you're in, what age you are, like just you just even start with ChatGPT. I just think that's the easiest one and just play around with it. And it's funny, I've obviously been using it for a long time. I've been telling my mom about it, all of this stuff, but usually my mom doesn't listen to what I say. It's the messenger, but she met someone, she's on holidays at the moment, and she met someone in a cafe and he told her about ChatGPT and so she's like, oh, so I downloaded it and there's a TAFE course, a free TAFE course on how to use AI. So she signed up for that and I was like, this is
Oh,
great.
brilliant.
Like I mean, she's not like she's like retired, semi-retired, so like she probably doesn't have any like business application for it, but she's like 62, 63, and so she's getting started with AI. And so
Yeah.
I was like, if she can do it, like anybody can, like it's just getting your feet wet, trying something, and just seeing what it can do, and like you mentioned, just reaching out to people and just checking in, like, how are you doing? How's your business? Have you heard about this cool AI thing?
Yeah.
Slide it in there, a little bit of unsolicited advice. But yeah, I think it's important for people to, yeah, definitely experiment with it. Because otherwise, like
Yeah.
you said, people will get left behind and it sucks, but I mean life is brutal in that way. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Every industry is using it. It's funny. My daughter, she's in year 7, so first year of high school for us. and she's pretty sure her teacher's marking her work, writing the comments through ChatGPT, and she's probably right, so she's got so many students. That's what I would do anyway. So
Right, absolutely. I mean, it helps in the long run because then the teacher's not getting so burnt out, so then she has more time and attention to,
yeah,
to focus.
yeah,
But I was reading about that actually, like students using ChatGPT for essays and things, and
yeah,
it was like really interesting because they said plagiarism, like the definition of plagiarism, is basically like copying another human's work. So it doesn't actually, as it stands, or when I read the article 6 months ago, as it stood, it wasn't actually plagiarism if it was an AI generated content. So it was this really like tricky situation for like academic providers to kind of work around and be able to test for AI and all of that. But I was
yeah.
just like, I know, I think good on you if you using AI. Like, I just think it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's how everything's going. It's going to be fun to see how like my kids and younger people go through life and watch them. When I'm already fairly old, but when I'm retired, and when they're making their way in their careers and everything, and what the world might look like.
And how it should be
Um,
normalized. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So it's things. I mean, before our time, but when there was first aircraft, it's that kind of thing. It's like no one ever thought that was possible. Now it is, and it changes how we
Everything.
move around the world and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Very interesting. Cool. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. For people who
Yeah,
want to know more about you and what you do and connect online, where can they find you?
yeah. The website's the easiest thing. Uplift360.com.au, Australian website. From there, you'll find social media links and all that kind of stuff as well. So connect with me directly as well on LinkedIn. I accept everybody. So yeah, you'll find me there. So
Awesome. Great. Well, yeah, thanks again for coming on the show. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
thanks, Ellie.